Unsolved 1912, case of 26-year-old Lucy Fairman who was found dead in the river near Rye House. Lucy Fairman vanished on the 6th of January 1912 and her body was later found in the River Lee near Rye House, Hoddesdon, on the 27th of March 1912. Her 26-year-old sweetheart was committed for trial on the charge of murdering her, but the bill against him was later thrown out. Her boyfriend was last seen with her at a dance at Rye House on the 6th of January 1912. It was said that the boyfriend had gone to Rye House on the 6th of January 1912 to his grandmother's house with Lucy Fairman and that they had both stayed there all day, and then after tea he had then accompanied Lucy Fairman to the dance, saying that they would be back for supper a little after 9 p.m, after which they would catch the 10:04 p.m. train. They left the dance together at 8:45 p.m. and went off in the direction of the bridge crossing the River Lee. However, they didn't take supper, which had been laid out. The grandmother said that when the boyfriend returned shortly after 9 p.m, she asked where Lucy Fairman was, and said that the boyfriend replied to her, "I'm going to catch her up at Broxbourne. We've been to St Margaret's and bought 2 fowls and had them trussed and ready to be cooked." The grandmother said that the boyfriend then took Lucy Fairman's umbrella and handbag, saying that he was going to meet Lucy Fairman at Broxbourne. The woman whose house it was where the grandmother lived said that when the boyfriend came back at 9 p.m. for the umbrella and handbag, he had been in a great hurry. It was said that the boyfriend had left the district by the 10:04 p.m. train and that nothing more was seen of Lucy Fairman until her body was found on the 27th of March 1912. The boyfriend said that the last he saw of Lucy Fairman was when he left her at Broxbourne station. At the time, the boyfriend had been lodging at a house in Enfield, and on the 16th of February 1912 his landlady there said that she had remarked to him that he looked feverish, and said that he replied, "No, I've been took for murder." The woman said that later that night the boyfriend said to her, "I had been to a dance at Rye House with a young lady, and the last I saw her alive was as the train was signalled in from Broxbourne station. I left her and travelled back by the next train. She went off and left me holding her bag." He then told her that he had left the handbag at his aunt's house. When the boyfriend was questioned and gave an account of his movements on the night, it was said that his statements were contradictory and evasive. He also admitted before the coroner that some of the statements that he had made to the police and other people had been false. It was heard that the prosecution thought that the boyfriend knew before he left Rye House on the 6th of January 1912 that Lucy Fairman was dead, and that he knew more about her death than he admitted. It was also heard that the boyfriend had admitted to his aunt that he had desired to get rid of Lucy Fairman, as he thought that she was too old for him, and had similarly admitted to the police that he wished to get rid of her. It was also heard that following her disappearance, the boyfriend had made no inquiries about her. As such, coupled with the boyfriend's behaviour following Lucy Fairman's disappearance, it was thought that there was a prima facie case against him. However, the boyfriend denied knowing anything about her disappearance. The boyfriend admitted that he had misconducted himself with Lucy Fairman and had never intended to marry her. Lucy Fairman's body was found in the River Lee at the junction with the River Stort in a weir, a place about 10 minutes' walk from Rye House. When the police examined her body, they found that her clothes were much torn. When found, she was wearing a locket containing her father's portrait. When the doctor examined Lucy Fairman's body, he said that he thought that she had been in the water for about 3 months, and that in his opinion death was due to drowning, but that he could not say for certain. He said that there were no marks of violence on her body or anything to indicate foul play before she got into the water. After leaving Rye House on the night of the dance, the boyfriend had gone home to his aunt's house, where he had lodged up until the 11th of January 1912 at about midnight, and had remained in bed the next day saying that he had a cold. It was also heard that he had told his aunt that he had taken Lucy Fairman to the Chelsea Palace of Varieties on the previous evening. The boyfriend then disappeared 2 days later, after which the aunt found Lucy Fairman's handbag hidden underneath his bed. The handbag had contained a letter and about 6 or 7 shillings in silver. The boyfriend later took up lodgings in Enfield from the 11th of January 1912, where he stayed until about the middle of February. Lucy Fairman had been a housekeeper to her father, and the boyfriend had been a nurseryman. They had been engaged for several months. Nothing more is known about the circumstances surrounding her death, or what exactly happened to her on the night she vanished, or how she came to be in the river.